Welcome back. In lesson 3, we'll be talking about the African arrival to the English colony. In lesson 2, we learned that people from Europe became settlers in America. Who were some of the settlers to come to North America? Some of the first settlers in North America were from England. In 1607, settlers from England started the first permanent colony in the New World. The colony was called Jamestown. The people who live in a colony are called colonies. Jamestown was an English colony because its colonists had come from England. Soon there would be 13 English colonies along the east coast of North America. In 1619, a Dutch ship sailed into Jamestown harbor. The captain of the ship needed food for his crew. How do you think the captain paid for the food? The captain had 20 Africans on the ship, so the captain traded the Africans for food from the colonists. These 20 Africans were the first blacks in the English colonies. The first blacks in the colonies were indentured servants. Indentured servants made a promise to work to pay for the trip to the New World. Indentured servants had to work very hard, but they usually got their freedom after working for several years. Freed black indentured servants sometimes did quite well. Anthony Johnson was one black man who did very well. Johnson even had white indentured servants working for him. Amos Fortune was another black indentured servant. When freed, Fortune started a business. Then he bought a ship and became a rich trader. Fortune spent money helping many poor blacks. In the middle of the 1600s, laws about black people began to change. The colonists needed more workers, so some more blacks were made indentured servants for life. In other words, these blacks became slaves. By 1700, slavery was made legal in all the English colonies. The biggest need for slaves was in the southern colonies. Plantations in the south were quite large. Tobacco, rice, and sugar cane were grown on the plantations. Plantation owners did not pay slaves to work. This made farming cheaper for the plantation owners. Why weren't slaves used as often in the north? Some large farms in northern colonies, such as New York, did use slaves, but most farms in the north were small, so northern farmers did not need many slaves. However, many people in the north became rich by selling slaves. Not all blacks in the colonies were slaves. Some blacks were freed by their white owners, some blacks bought their freedom, others came to the colonies as free people or as runaway slaves. Free blacks often worked as shipbuilders or as printers, some were farmers, a few owned companies. Life was still hard for free blacks. Black people still paid taxes but was not treated well as white people. Free blacks had to carry a special paper proving they were free. Sometimes free blacks were captured to be sold as slaves. In the middle of the 1700s, white colonists began talking about freedom from England, but few whites thought about freedom for blacks. And that concludes lesson 3. If you have any questions about lesson 3, leave a question or comment below. And in lesson 4, we'll be talking about the American Revolution. Thanks for watching and happy Black History.